of a value pick here, and another one of those supports that kind of just came back into the meta as of late, based off the picks that we've been seeing recently. So it's again, it's like, do you buff heroes like this? Like they're slowly making a comeback. Do they need a buff? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I think in Disruptor's case, it's really just the recognition that your pause 5 can just be super sacrificial and keeps buying regen. So what makes Disruptor really strong is that his investment on Mangoes pays off really big because of Thunderstrike, right? Like, you just ferry out, you start off with 4 Mangoes or something dumb like that, use it all up, come back in with a salve after killing yourself, and just keep sustaining the lane. I think something has to be done about the sustain. Just leaving these lanes, very hard to really outright win or like completely dominate. But who knows? Like that's a fundamental change. I don't know if they'd go that far and change like starting items and stuff. As we do see Lilgun pick up the Snapfire on their side, so the circles are lining up here for Lilgun, Mike. They've got Kinetic Field, they've got Static Storm, they've got the Kisses with lots of circles being spat out, Torrent, and the boat is a big wide AoE circle. So the team fight's looking pretty good for Lilgun. They don't have hard hold like say the Tidehunter Ravage or even something like the Fiend's Grip onto 1, but X Torrent should be able to cover a lot of your bases. Orca do go into the Death Prophet, so that could be a core DP now. There is some flux for Orca opening up here, as with DP Titan, Bane, and Weaver, you have a lot of ways of tossing these out to different lanes. So I think the side of Orca can adjust as need be. They could run core DP mid for Citrus, which seems likely. I don't think it does too bad against Quap. Your Spirit Siphon kind of helps you hold the lane. That will force Quap to get maybe a level 3 blink or a level 4 blink, which, takes away some of that edge with her magic damage. But at the same time, it's not the worst lane for a Quap, so there is some room there to shift it around. Why am I saying that? Menu Pink loves to play his pause 5 DP, so that should be his hero. But with a Bane, it's just a hard sell, right? Like, you've got Bane on the 5 already. Death Prophet 4 just doesn't sound amazing.
It's a very weird draft, isn't it, from Orca? Like, it's very flexible, but it's also very strange. Like, I'm looking at Lilgun, and it's much more self-explanatory. You know exactly what each role's doing, but look, we'll wait for this last pickup. I mean, Team Orca do seem like they need a carry of some sort. We might see the return of the mid DP offlane Tide here, and just go into that pos for Weaver, pos 5 Bane, which I think is the most likely thing we see. What I'm saying in particular is I don't like it, but it's probably very likely we're to see it. What carry do you want, though? Like, do you want to try the pos 1 Lesh again for Orca, perhaps? Instead of Citrus playing it.
We've seen VT Fade do that Lesh pause 1 quite well. If he does want some of his more natural options, Terribly it's still there, but considering all the magic damage you're up against from Lilgun, it can be a bit hard to feel safe on the TB. It does feel like a very quick BKB game for something like the Terrorblade. A Life Stealer might work just to counteract all the magic damage coming through, but you don't have the best vehicles. You're going to be kited around with a Kunkka and Quap once your rage is off, so it can be tough. I'd say Luna wouldn't be too bad. I think that's the best compromise compared to the TB. It goes a little bit quicker. You can play with a push coming through from DP. It plays with a Weaver minus armor. Saying all of that, though, TA safely and still an option for VT Faded as well. And that is also an option for Lilgun if they want to fall back to it for Sanctity. So either side could make that TA work out pretty fine here.
Oh, hello.
Ooh.
They go for a Centaur last pick. Now, this is something I can't say I was expecting at all. Centaur comes out, John. What could possibly be the reason for that?
I think they really just want to play aggressive. Play with Stampede, run forward, trap people up, get a good hoof stomp off. The TA does come out for VT Faded in the end, so Tide TA left in the draft does get picked up. I like Lilgun's draft just because it's much more aggressive. Like, Orca can be aggressive. They're constrained by cooldowns here on Ravage, on Exorcism, and that is a slower pace just compared to Lilgun. They don't have many long cooldowns. Boat's not that long. Sonic Wave is probably one of the longer ones. Stampede gets pretty low at max level. So you can maintain that aggression on the side of Lilgun quite well. Safe lane TA against Centaur is a pretty decent lane for TA by level 3. Level 1 to 2 doesn't feel great. Either you get Refraction, which the Snapfire can rip right through with a little Shredder, or you get Meld, which means Centaur can just run up and bully you. So I think Lilgun are already setting up. They've got the double stun. Like you were asking me why Descent, you've got Cookie Hoofstop. So
Right.
just really strong lane and just plays into that aggression Lilgun love to run.
I mean, I realize they've got the double stun. It's just, it's Centaur, John. It's just, it's not a hero we've seen at all in the past months. So I'm very just surprised. We'll see how it pans out. I mean, maybe the hero's secretly good and just nobody knew about it this whole time. But I highly doubt it.
I mean, I prefer Lilgun's draft just because
Sure.
I think the Centaur makes sense here. Because you do want to just charge up and cut everyone off. And you don't have anyone that can naturally follow up with your Quap, right? Like, no one can match the pace she wants to blink in with unless they have their own blink. So Stampede helps alleviate that and just allows you to keep dictating these fights on your own terms. Allows you to get some easy glimpses off, catching up to people, and just take control in the engagement. So considering how Lilgun played in game one, I think if they manage to maintain that same pacing here, should be the same story up against Orca. Orca have much better hold, but arguably maybe a slower hero in that TA, right? Like you're going to be sitting back and farming a lot more compared to Wraith King, who sometimes shows up when his reincarnation is good to go. Whereas in this case, VT Fate is definitely just going to be eating up a lot of jungle space.
All right, we'll get into it, John. Game number 2 and the final game of the night.
If I call you mate, I don't mean it literally.
Again, very intrigued. I like it. I mean, the double stun, it is impactful. Of course, against the TA, you might not get too much value out of it, but maybe you can catch the Bane out. See how it pans out as Orca. They will go for the 5-man smoke that we initially see every game. John, we've been speaking a lot about the patch today, so I do have a question for you. And I don't think we're going to have a level 1 fight. There's been a lot of talk, John. Primal Beast, is it a new hero?
Yes.
Or is it the second Roshan? In fact, hold that thought. We might have a fight. Sanctity's... Okay, go on, John. Answer the question.
I would prefer it... It's weird. I don't think it makes a great hero. Because I don't know how you rework his last fight into a usable, playable kit as a player character. But at the same time, I don't like the concept of a second Roche as well. Because, you know, it's getting a bit similar to a different game. A certain other game with certain names. And I'd rather not tread that path because I've read arguments from some of my friends where they feel like the string of heroes we've had are very much like that other game where you have vector targeting, you've got mobility built in, it's a full kit. And I would not want to tread further there, but who knows, Mike? Valve knows better than me. Ice Frog knows better.
Okay. Thank you for that, John. I mean, you didn't really answer the question, sadly. You just told me what you'd prefer. I did ask you to guess which one it was going to be, John. Could you give us
Which one is it?
Give us a
I
choice,
think it's
John.
not going to it's not going to be a separate objective, maybe to replace his first Roche. Take away Aegis on first Roche, give Primal Beast maybe a bit of some sort of different drop, and replace first Roshan or second Roshan. I think that's what's going to happen. And it makes more sense map-wise. Because that first Aegis just dictates a lot. It gives you such a big early power spike, and it's so easy to take. So the best thing to do is just limit that power by changing it away from Roshan. That could be one way to go there, Mike.
Do you think there'll be Ags lines if you're fighting the Primal Beast, John? Will Aghanims come in?
You know, that might sway my decision of being against the second objective, so that would be nice. I don't think it will, because it doesn't make sense. I would rather they release, like, say, in-game voice lines, you know, like the caster pack as they get the jump.
Yeah, there's that double stun you talked about. Menu ping. No, he's going to be fine. 11, actually choosing to back off. I thought maybe they'd continue for the chase, but perhaps just not confident they'd be able to finish off the kill, and maybe they just don't want to take too much damage here from BT Fate.
They respect that early meld that can rip through Ascent and especially Snapfire. VT Faded is in for a tough lane. Again, as we said from draft, level 1 to 2 is not the best here for TA. The double stun threat's always there, and even with Refraction up, Kishka can just go a little shredder and melt the initial levels of that Refraction. So it's not going to be too tough for them to rip through that durability, and there's not much aggression you can get with TA Bane. Menu Ping's just putting his body forward.
Yeah, stun out again. Menu Ping this time does not have Brain Sap, but he is going to be tanky enough to get away from all this, as even the Meld Strike flying out there from BT Faded. It's going to force Kishka to just salve up, and Menu Ping will do the exact same as they run right back into each other. No, they miss out each other there for a second, but eventually we'll be back at it. Still the mid lane. You've got Sanctity and Citrus here, John, in the mid lane, and well, so far it is favoring Sanctity, though it has been a bit back and forth. Do you give the advantage to one side or the other here in this mid matchup?
I'd say it's really even. I don't think either side has a big edge. Perhaps Sanctity feels a lot safer because he does have the blink advantage to break Spirit Siphon, but he doesn't have that level 1. So it's not like he has that utility to run away. It is tougher for a DP to work that Spirit Siphon up against a ranged hero. I think in that sense, yeah, Sanctity should have the slight edge.
BT faded, is going to drop. Kishka able to secure the kill there with the little shredder. Just, yeah, that double stun. Just coming in clutch, and BT faded. He doesn't have any points in refraction right now, so no way to protect himself from those initial hits.
I think it's understandable to not have refraction up against Snap, just because you know it's going to melt. It's only 3 instances of damage block, and it's going to be really easy to rip through anyway, so you might as well try to get the side blades, try to increase the distance between you and the Centaur. We'll see how much more VT Faded can get, but it is a lot slower for him in this lane. He will be able to recover in the jungle, but with how much pressure is in the lane, Menu Ping doesn't really have the space to build some early stacks up as well.
Certainly not. They just keep going with this aggression against each other. Final lane though, bot lane, Yif and GY against 423 on that Kunkka and Ace 12 on the Disruptor. It doesn't really feel like GY is too bothered at all by this Kunkka, as they are going to make the play onto Ace 12 with that minus armor. It's just so much damage. Ace 12 to drop, and unfortunately for the Disruptor, there's just nothing you can do about it. Though 423 may be trying to go for a bit of a trade here onto GY, but I highly doubt he has anywhere near enough damage. And in the meantime, top lane, Menu Ping and Kishka both to fall, though Menu Ping does go down first. And eventually BT Beta does clean up Kishka, but it still feels like it is favoring Lilgun here in this top lane.
Oh yeah, they're still finding some good trades. I think that does feel a lot better for Orca. You got solo EXP for VT Faded, and you get some good gold injection from the AoE gold just being counteracted and helping you. Still some aggression bot here though.
Yeah, but 423 may have gone too far. They always have the magic stick charges, so 423 just overstays his welcome, trying to go on Yif, and just gets baited into an easy death there from GY and Yif.
Yeah, and this Tide Hunter is becoming really tanky now. Does have the level 2 Anchor Smash, early Ring of Health, so a lot of sustain coming out from our Tide. And the minus armor strats is just paying off for Orca. Like, they just get that swarm off, they get the gush on top, really easy for Yif to run up and do some good work. And it's just enough to run them down early on.
Top lane Kishka gets very close to falling, but does make it out with the cookie. They've got the cookie back up in 10, so you might look for them to make a play soon, but 11's a bit short on mana at the moment, so he doesn't really have the hoof stomp available. We'll have it pretty soon, though, but I believe they will have to just try onto Menu Ping. But now, I mean, considering how well the lane's gone, they may just take it easy. It feels like Menu Ping finally has a bit of time to try for these large camp pulls away. Though down a bot lane, GY can't say the same for him, as he is going to drop thanks to the rotation of Sanctity on that Quap. Of course, Yif just unable to really help out in that Weaver. I suppose it is one of the shortcomings of this hero as a support, as you don't really have any save potential up until you have the Aghanim Scepter.
And that's a long ways off. Good movement out from Sanctity to kind of stabilize that bot lane. The only lane that Lilgun's really been struggling with, as their mid's been very stable, their top's been an outright win, and Yif might be in danger here.
Yeah, he may die. He does not have the Sakuchi, though does Fairy Fire, but eventually will be denied off by Citrus. Nice little deny there from our DP. Citrus, he ended up getting the power rune anyway. It was an invis up top, so still a bit of a win here for Orca, and still a very close matchup between the two, but it does seem like Citrus has had his way in this mid lane, even against a matchup that he probably shouldn't have won. And he'll move right into that tier 1 mid tower with the Exorcism and Siege Creep, just trying to tank through it. Keep that Siege Creep alive. The Kishka is going to show himself, but Yif will be there to just try to force him back. And it seems like Citrus, he'll keep glyphing up through this. Keep that Siege Creep alive, but not for long. It will eventually drop. that they aren't done yet. They're going to go for a bit more damage. As Kishka, he'll be chased down. No cookie available to throw out. Means he is probably just dead. Yip and Citrus will be able to set up very easily. They will have to leave the tier 1 mid tower alone now, though.
They managed to waste enough time on the side of Lilgun protecting that mid. So they sacrificed the support to get that done. I think it's worthwhile. They're just preventing Orca from hitting critical mass. Because once that mid tier 1's gone, the jungle opens up. The triangle's easier to contest. There's already a nice ward being dropped here by Yif to ensure that they spot out any future stacks. And the good news here for Orca is that all the rotations mid has bought VT Faded a little bit more space. The issue is 11 already has a Vanguard, already has a level 6. So even with the space for VT Faded, he's not safe enough to stay in lane. He's having to work that jungle. There have been no major stacks, but VT Faded's still finding some decent farm considering that one death up top. Like, he's still number 3 net worth, so RTA is still set to have a decent ramp up, and they've always got the triangle that they can build up now. No vision coming out from Lilgun in that area means that it should be fairly well protected if you want to farm there down the line.
Menu ping. He's surrounded here. He jumped on by Sanctity into a very nice cookie there from Kishka. Menu ping will drop. And the power rune's still going to go the way of Lilgun as Sanctity does take the illusion rune himself. And they're making it 4-4 now, so it's still a very, very even game too. Gonna say though, in terms of the core matchups and the net worths, it does feel like Lilgun are still just pulling ahead slightly. There's 11 and 4-2-3 have just had very, very good lanes in this Centaur and Kunkka respectively. But against the TA, you can't really rely on any of that. It is still a TA who can just flash farm the jungle, so VT Faded, chances are he's going to catch up very, very fast now. See if they can keep up on Lilgun.
Yeah, I think they will. Just because the supports haven't been able to get those stacks going for VT Faded. So the flash farm for him is not going to be the biggest. It's going to take a little bit more time to get that going, and they still have this slow push coming out with Ascent. Just stand there with a Vanguard, tower kills itself.
What a life. Even going for that old school build up, you go for the Vanguard into the Hood of Defiance, and it just makes you feel like you're impossible to kill. Cookie, oh, that's right on the mark. Into the hoof stomp. They seem to know he's around there somewhere, and Yif is going to drop, it seems, as he does not have a Sakuchi to throw out. That was a really nice angled cookie there from 11 and Kishka. And just the trust to know that they actually landed it.
They just have the coordination locked down on the side of Lilgun. And they've just left this lane alone. 11 has a few lanes to keep shoving and farming out. They are pressuring bot though.
Yeah, they got the tier 1. They committed the Ravage for Ace 12, but they miss out on the Kunkka. Citrus should be able to clean this tier 1 up as now 4-2-3. He thinks about going in with the X back into the boat. Citrus will comp it. Now the Mortimer's Kisses are there. Sanctity even joining him at a nice Nightmare dodge, but it won't matter. Sonic Wave is going to land, and now 11. He'll show up and just block GY off. Do not let the escape route continue. The GY should eventually fall and will. They will take him out. Sanctity finding a double kill here on the Quap, and when you got the bot tier 1, but that's about all you get.
Even out the map control comes at a pretty heavy cost. You lose pretty big cores in the process, and that should open up Lilgun for the mid push. Like 11's still fairly healthy. Their push just doesn't cost anything. No Ravage to threaten for the defense. No Exo as well. It's going to be a tall order for Orca to stop the shove in coming the way of Lilgun.
Very difficult indeed, especially without that Ravage up. GY is still going to be around to try and tank as they do pop the Fiend's Grip, but that is a tanky Centaur you're trying to deal with right now, as it looks like he's not going to go down yet. Hoof Stomp is there. He's still falling, but not low enough. He's even being salved up in the middle of all this, and they have the Stampede if they have the mana. They won't. 11 just didn't need it anyway. Just way too tanky to deal with on the Centaur. He'll just make it out, and he'll actually go back to farming in the mid lane.
Yep. It's that durability build, Mike. It's the old school build, you called it. Vanguard, Hooded Defiance, even the 2 rings of protection just makes it so hard to rip through him. And the side of Orca now will just have to try to farm where they can. They've still got the jungle in their control. There are no forward wards from Lilgun, so they can't get deep rotation in. I don't think Lilgun mind that too much. because they just want to play for the objectives first. They just want to melt away at Orca while they have no options to counterfight. Now, you will have Ravage in about half a minute, 20 seconds away. And EXO as well, it's almost back up. So this next shove in is going to be a bit more punishable. We'll see how much Orca commits as. They are still pretty far out, and GY doesn't really have the blink, so he's going to have to walk and Ravage here.
Oh, Cookie, Mortimer's Kisses, they even got the Hoof Stomp. It's going to be a lot of damage, but a Nightmare is there, buying a bit more time, but not enough as Citrus is going to melt to the damage. But Ravage is committed, and it does connect on 3 heroes, but who are they aiming? They'll get Ace 12, but now 4-2-3 is going to show up. The Boat and Torrent into the Tidebringer hit onto Menu Ping, but he has no damage. There's no damage really being dealt there to the Bane. The fight will continue now that they have the Kunkka in their grasp. 4-2-3, not that tanky right now. A nice Sonic Wave there to push them back, and now the armor toggles. He survived. He'll go onto Yip on that Weaver, but does eventually fall. Can they punish? It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to punish too much here as Menu Ping with the Nightmare is going to set up back onto Sanctity. They're going to get the Quap down. Orca, they'll just keep going for more now. Onto the Disruptor. Stampede, though, has been popped as 11. Does at least chase down Menu Ping. But the chase is on now for the Centaurs. The buyback was out from Menu Ping. Yif will be able to keep the vision up. And eventually 11. Gonna put the hand up, looking for a high 5. Won't get one.
Yeah, they do make that buyback work on Menu Ping. And I think the big thing you get with that buyback is there was the threat of the Centaur just standing on that tower. There's no Fortify left on Orca. You could have easily found the mid-tier 1. This stalls that out further, and Orca gets to kind of regroup, cut their losses a bit. That was favorable for the Orca in the end. Basically a full team wipe coming out from Lilgun. And they managed to build up on Orca. They're starting to get that lead back. They're starting to get the farm they need on VT Faded. Dragonlance already up on our TA here, Mike. Desolator not too far off. And that's the point where VT Faded will just run around and do what he needs to do on the TA. Maybe the blink on top of it will help even more. But there's no pertinent need for a BKB. I think Orca's done a great job of having everyone else cop the spells. So as long as VT Faded doesn't get caught out, this Desolator blink timing should be pretty strong coming out from him.
Lilgun. Posturing aggressively there, but unable to find a target. Yif, however, may give him that target as the Thunderstrike is going to be out. Ace 12 has the level 3 glimpse, so he can bring him right back with the time lapse. Is going to be enough to just get himself out of there. Could not get him in within that Static Storm to just hold him down. Sanctity now. No, he's going to be able to back off. Menu Ping. Not close enough to try for the Nightmare or Fiend's Grip. Nowhere near that eighth lens yet for the Bane either. But I'm sure they'll be very happy seeing that TA Desolator being completed, and now Kishka going to be chased down. Hoof Stomp will be there though with the Static Storm being committed, but the Centaur not quite as tanky as I first remembered. BT Faded getting quite a bit of damage up as Citrus. Well, he's moved in by himself, and the Torrent is going to land, but a nice Nightmare is out. It still doesn't block too much damage, though Citrus is still in trouble and does fall. They'll keep trying the Orca. Have they gone too far? It does seem like they have, as Yip now has been caught himself on the Weaver and should eventually fall here to the scream of the Queen of Pain. They might even go after GY. Looks like the tide may be a little bit too much. The Orca, they'll be forced to deny that tier 1 mid tower off and just back out of it. It seems like they just weren't on the same page for that team fight.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place. A Lilgun does make it work in the end. As you mentioned, though, the damage output of VT Faded is pretty up there, Mike. Desolator up, so you can rip right through the scent. Not much armor up on 11 yet. Vanguard not going to do enough up against that minus armor. So 11's going to have to tank up somehow. He is building towards that Lotus Orb. Still a ways off, but you should eventually find it with the tier 1 gun. They could try to invade the jungle. Again, Lilgun hasn't dropped any forward wards, so it looks like they just want to maintain their control on their side of the map. Keep farming up. Keep hitting those initial spikes they need. 4-2-3, almost at the BKB timing on the Kunkka. So the Ravage is not going to bother him. That's going to force maybe a good grip out from Minyo Ping, but gripping the Kunkka might not be the target you want, as that will leave Sanctity free to do what he wants in the middle of these engagements.
Still, I mean, you see Orca looking around, having a look for a fight. Citrus, and he'll get a silence onto Sanctity, but it's not going to be for long. Right behind GY and Menu Ping is going to be Kishka with the cookie, but he's completely off the mark. Instead, they've actually found out that Weaver. The Nightmare, well, it's only going to buy a little bit of time. In fact, never mind, it's going to buy enough time. He gets out, and now a Fiend's Grip. Going to hold down the Centaur. There goes 11. 4-2-3's just trying to TP his way out, and he will barely make it. Team Orca now suddenly fighting back here along with VT Faded. They'll be able to get that tier 1 mid tower, no problems here, and it's right into the Roshan pit for the side of Team Orca.
They know there's no Stampede, they know there's no Static Storm coming through anytime soon. With the damage on VT Faded just with that Deso, it's going to be enough. You have all the minus armor in the world with a Swarm, with a Gush, and your TA can just do the work you need to. Blink up as well for VT Faded flying out, so he can't just jump in and rip everyone to shreds inside of Lilgun. Maybe it's time to regroup a bit. Maybe it's time to just wait for their own items. They need some of the BKBs up here. They need at least the plate mail up on 11 because he can't frontline. If that TA shows up, he's just straight up dead.
Arcane mystery.
Mid lane, VT back in. Very confident with this Aegis. And Blink Deso and Ravage is there. GY, 4 heroes to go down. At least in the Ravage as Kishka is the first. 4-2-3. No, a great hoof stop from 11. Gonna stop the chase onto 4-2-3, but Yif is still gonna be there against this Kunkka. GY to follow. 4-2-3 still trying to run the Meld Strike. Is gonna follow him down. It's not gonna be enough though. 4-2-3 with the armor toggles does survive. As 11 is still trying. They'll get the Aegis gone, but now the Centaur's in trouble as he gets chased down 11 with the second target to fall. So he gives his own life away to make sure 4-2-3 does survive, and that he barely does. Are they still chasing Sanctity? I mean, they're certainly running in the right direction. He was under vision there for a moment, but I don't think they really have the lockdown for the Quap right now. Though I say that, they do have Fiend's Grip back up, but Menu Ping's not really around.
And it's a bit optimistic to pin down Sanctity at that point. They still managed to get a good resource away here from Lilgun. Like, they do manage to take that Aegis away from VT Faded, but they don't find anything else. And that just allows Orca to widen that network gap. 4K now, going to the 20-minute mark, 12 to 15. Orca in a very strong position with her mid-game spike. All off the back of VT Faded farming really well. The rest of his team buying him the space he needs. He's delivering the goods this time around. The side of Lilgun have been, honestly, overcommitting onto the mid just a bit too much. Right, they've been forcing fights there so long, and it just took way too long for them to find what they wanted. Good space created here by Sanctity, though, dragging everyone to the tree line, giving some more time for Lilgun to get that farm they desperately need. But their power spikes, it doesn't feel like it lines up as well. Right, you do have the BKB up on 4-2-3. So again, it just makes him maybe into the primary grip target, which should open up more angles here for 11. We'll see if that will be the case. 11 does have the goal to buy out a plate mail, and he walks into the grip.
And he does. 11. I mean, he lost half his HP from that Meld Strike. It's just kind of insane how much damage TA does with that Meld. So they're gonna get one. 11 nowhere near as tanky as he once was. They want more. Up that top lane, they know they are around in that tree line somewhere, so Citrus will scan out and does find 4-2-3 with that scan. Now spotting him out there for a moment. Still having a look for this Kunkka, and they will find him. Force the BKB there, but he's going to try and get the fight going with the X back. No Citrus. Going to be able to use through it. Without that BKB now, maybe you could go for the secondary tier 2 tower up at this top lane, and I doubt Lilgun can really think about stopping you.
No. They do have Stampede on the respawn of 11, and it looks like they will actually put their bodies forward. Gotta find a good angle here, though.
That's a lot of damage on this tier 2 tower thus far. 4-2-3 gonna force them back a little bit with that Tidebringer cleave, but that's gonna be about it, as they are gonna lose it, and now they just jump in with a big Ravage. They've got 2 targets. Sanctity's gone on that quad, but now with the Nightmare, they'll hold down another. 4-2-3's gonna try to run, but there's no running. Not without a BKB, there isn't. Tier 3s, anyone?
Yeah. I mean, why not? There's nothing to stop them anymore. They know Stampede's down. They know the Static Storm's gone. Kisses, though?
BT already taking down Ace 12 onto 11 now, and 11 just can't survive. It's so funny how fast Centaur goes from being the tankiest dude on the map to being the absolute squishiest.
It's all down to his armor. Like, he just doesn't have much. He has 4+2. Vanguard doesn't give you any armor. The chance to block is negligible when you're up against all this melt and all the gush and the swarm. So it's not as tanky as it is. You really need that plate mail. And as pointed out earlier, he did have the gold for plate mail. He opted to farm a wave instead. Gets punished for the greed, held back from the item pickup. His courier was dead in that entire downtime, so you couldn't ferry it out as well. Just instantly buy. And the side of Orca now are starting to get into this position, which is very hard to block off from the side of Lilgun. The BKBs are making it hard for Ace 12 to get a good use of his Static Storm. Their jump in with Ascent just feels like you're jumping in with a paper towel at the moment. And you're just not doing enough damage yet on 423 to really burst heroes down. They will go for a smoke play though. They know Ravage is down for a little bit longer, but they still don't have that forward vision, so they're going in a bit blind.
And that vision might cost them, John. I mean, they've found nothing. This 5-man smoke up, and it seems like Team Orca have done a very good job of just kind of avoiding this Radiant team. As in fact, they group up mid now. They might go for a counter smoke or just a counter initiation. No Ravage, but it is up in 25, and that's enough to try and force the fight right now, as GY has been very patient with these Ravages. In fact, there you go. Jump in. Ace 12 deleted in 2 hits. No problem here for VT Faded, as they want more, and they're going to find Kishka on the Snapfire. That'll be a second target. Even the Swarm might check that tree line. 11. Oh, they're going to spot the Centaur out. So VT Faded, he'll jump right in for a third. Why not? 11 gets the tips. It's bloody hard, man. I mean, once you put out that armor issue, John, I can't believe he has 6 armor at level 14.
Yep.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yep, he has an agi gain of 1, Mike. He does not get any natural armor at all true levels. It just makes it really tough to sustain. High ground siege does begin here from the side of Orca, forcing out the buyback on Ascent. But as pointed out, 11 doesn't do much. He needs to find a really good jump in with a hoof stomp, but even then, they have to connect perfectly with a torrent and both perfectly with a Static Storm to really maximize that.
Jump in, but no Nightmare
Oh,
is there to stop the hoof stop, and now the Ravage out again from GY. 11 has just gone. Sanctity forced the blink away in 4-2-3. He's used that BKB, but it's just way too early. You wonder how they even fight now, as well. Sanctity's blinked in, but he's blinked into his death. You just can't deal with this TA right now. Menu ping. He'll keep BT Faded safe, and with the Beans grip out, they've even got the Kunkka. 4-2-3, we're still trying. They finally get the TA down, but it's a full team wipe. GG.
Alright. Yeah, Orca. This is the Orca we expected in game 1. This is the kind of playstyle we were looking for. Just hyper aggression on 4 to sustain this build up on VT Faded. Didn't quite work in game 1. It didn't really come out, but in game 2 it works out in spades. To get the tied TA with a nice Weaver coming through. You questioned that Centaur pick, Mike. You know, it looked good in laning, and I expected maybe a little bit more to be played with the Stampede aggressively. Instead, down the line, we just saw a lot more defensive Stampedes. We didn't see the initiation Lilgun needed, and because of that 1.0 agi gain without any additional items, 11 was pretty squishy. So Orca, with her minus armor strat, just made short work of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of insane how fast you can delete a Centaur as a TA with enough minus armor. Still, with that, John, that is it for tonight in terms of games. It's been a fantastic day of SCA Dota. I say that it has been a very dominant day for most teams in SCA Dota for the BTS Pro Series Season 10, but there'll be more games on tomorrow. I do not have tomorrow's games in front of me, John. Do you? Do you want to read them out?
Yes,
quickly?
I do.
Go on, John.
Yes,
read them
for
out.
tomorrow, we've got SMG up against Yangon Galacticos, Motivate Trust up against T1, and Neon versus Orca to cap off the night there, Mike.
All right, well, with that, we are going to head off and go to bed, and I suppose we'll be back tomorrow for some more great SCA Dota. See you then.